All right, so in this video, I'm going to be explaining what exactly a pipeline is in your CRM. Okay. And before I even go any further, if you like these types of videos, like and subscribe. And if you think this will help someone else that you know that runs a business, share with them as well. And also, as another side note, is if you're looking at CRMs currently and you do not have, or that particular CRM does not have a pipeline, I would personally not use it. The reason for it is because you're going to outgrow that system at some point, if not already. Okay. So here's a pipeline. We have it separated into 4 separate sections. And it's basically each stage of the journey for the customer process. Now, at some point at one point we had actually a total of 5 columns. So there was initial contact, there was consultations, there was pre-install, installation, and then repairs. But as of now, we consolidated it. But if we do bring on another employee to manage this process, we might split this up again. Okay. So for the initial contact, this is when the person first contacted us. Actually, you know what? We'll start with this. So when they first come in, they'll all come in as new leads. Okay. And then from there, we start sorting them out. Okay. So you'll notice after a new lead, there's 4 columns that are just curious. That's just curious about price, low need, moderate need, and urgent need. Okay, so what we do with this is, depending on the person, when we talk to them, we find out basically how, what's the necessity of this fence. And basically what happens is the greater the need for the fence, if the kids are, kids are getting out or dogs are getting out or something like that, well, they're much more likely to get the fence compared to someone that says, well, it looks old, right? Because there's not as great as a need, there's a much lower chance of them actually getting the fence. So the main point of the pipeline in the, this initial stage 1 for the initial contact, is really sorting the people out. So that way, if you get 100 leads in the course of a month, well, if you have to chase every single one of those leads, you're just wasting a ton of time. But if you're able to separate them into the urgent, the moderate, and low need, what'll end up happening is you're going to spend the bulk of your time with the people in the urgent need, the ones that are more likely to move forward. And what happens is it's just a better use of your time. Okay. So what we have is the next column is a 3-day follow-up. So this is basically, we talk to the people and then they, we'll follow up with them in 3 days. Because if they say, I need to talk to my wife, or I need to talk to my spouse, or I need to think about it, blah, 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 we'll basically set up a time, typically 3 days from then, and then we will follow up with those people. Okay. Now, the next set of columns that you see here are follow-up, left message, second follow-up, and left second message. Okay. The way this works is basically the people in the urgent need, after 7 days, they automatically go into the follow-up column. Okay. And then basically we follow up with them. If we followed up with them and just say we called and left a message, well, then we put them in left message. Okay. If they don't call back within 7 days, they'll go into this second follow-up, which then again, we have to follow up with them. And if they, same thing, if they don't answer, then we put in a left second message. For us, after 7 days, if they still haven't responded to us, we're just assuming that they're no longer interested, and then they will basically disappear. The customer's information will still be in our system, but the card will not. Like, these are individual cards. Okay. And what ends up happening is we pretend for the follow-up, and we're actually a little bit behind on this just because we are in the middle of, we had someone that we were training for like 2 months, and then they decided to leave. So now we're in the process of getting someone else. So now we have one person that's doing 2 people's jobs. So, things are falling through the cracks. Okay. But at least we know which things are falling through the cracks. At least we can go back later on and, correct that situation. Okay. So let's say in the follow-up column, for this William Carroll, we follow up, hey, is there anything else you need help with? Are you still on target to get the fence? Blah, blah, blah. And depending on what they tell us, we're either, if they say, look, I'm not interested anymore, or I went with another company, then we will basically remove this card so they're not in our, site anymore. Okay. Now, if they say, yeah, we're still interested, but we need to get the landscaping taken care of or whatever, blah, 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 then after we're done talking to them, we will automatically, or not automatically, we will take them and drag them into whatever column that we need to drag them into. Okay. And then the process just would build again. So if they were in here, after 7 days, we would reach back out. Okay. Or if they say I need more time, this will be, and for moderate need, this is 2 weeks, low needs 3 weeks, and then just curious is 4 weeks. Okay. So, this first one is all about keeping track of the sales and everything else. And because of doing this, our sales have actually increased because we're paying more attention to the customers. Okay. The next board, or the next section, is the consultation. So what we do is we give a price over the phone, like a ballpark price, and then if they're interested in moving forward, we'll do an on-site consultation. We do charge $75 to go out for that, but if they move forward, we roll that into the price of the project, okay, making it free. So from basically this board and to the other two, it's really about organization within the company. So the first one, again, is really helping to increase your sales. And then the rest of it is just keeping everyone on track. Okay. So once they pay for the onsite, they go in here. And then once we schedule the onsite, they go here. And then once we do the consultation, and TJ is the one that does the consultations, once it's done, he will mark it done. And then it'll go into this column. Okay. Once Michelle or whoever is going to be doing the actual quote, once they're finished, it goes into final quote. So it would basically be in here. Okay. Now, once they go in here, once we have our multiple salespeople back up and running, what'll happen is at that point, then they will know, like on here, MC is just for Michelle. And we have F for Frank. Is there any other ones? And then L, that was Lydia that left. And then at least once they go in here, then that salesperson knows that they can, the quote's ready. They need to call the customer and basically book the job, right? After the final quote is sent, they go into here, which you can see there's quite a few people that were sent that they never move forward. So we really need to reach out and say, hey, what's up? Like, what's going on, kind of deal. Now, what you will see on here is 133. That means it's been there in 133 days. So at this point, like, it's 4 months. So these people are probably not interested, but you have quite a bit of people down here that we sent them, and, we need to follow up with them so that way we can book more jobs. Okay. And then we have the rest. So if we need to follow up, schedule for the remeasure, or if the remeasure was done. So remeasures is basically if something's, if they want us to come out again for whatever reason, then we'll just put them in there. Okay. So that's it for the consultations. Now, if they take the next step further and they end up booking the job, this is where they go into here. Okay. Now, again, this is really about keeping the company organized and making sure nothing's missed. Because one thing that'll happen is that you have someone that's, dedicated to doing, certain parts of the business. But if they're sick for whatever reason, or if they leave or whatever, you basically have no clue what's going on. But because of the pipeline, basically, if Michelle's out, because she's the one that controls this stuff, if she's out, then we know exactly where everyone is. We know for Dennis done that the invoice and budget's done, but we still need to send the emails. We need to do the first deposit. If we're waiting for the check, whatever it may be, at least we know what's going on. And this is for the entire process, from the time that they basically approve the quote all the way until the job is complete. We check the installation, and then we're requesting the Google review. As you can see here, we still have to do a better job with getting more reviews. So we have to work on that. This program is custom. So we're in the process of, we're going to automate it as much as we can. So like once we get into the request Google review, when they get into there, eventually down the line, it will basically send them an automated text message just to make sure they're happy with everything. Even though we do follow up and make sure that, Michelle calls, or whoever the project manager is does call to make sure that they're happy with the installation. If there's any concerns, whatever, but we will automate the Google review. So that way we get more reviews. We do automate some of the stuff, and it's helped. At this point, we have 180 reviews. Okay, so we have that. The final thing, let's scroll over, is the repairs. Okay, so for the repairs, basically what happened is there's two types. There's paid repairs, and then there's warranty repairs. So, for either or, we don't want to miss any of them. Okay. especially if it's a warranty repair. If they already paid for the service and then something needs to be fixed within the warranty period, then we just want to make sure that, they call and we actually show up. In the wintertime, it's not hard to keep track of, but in the springtime, when it's super busy, well, people can get missed in the cracks because, there's so much going on. But again, as long as you're using the pipeline, this is what fixes or stops that from happening. Sorry if you can hear the dogs barking in the background. It's probably Amazon or something. But anyway, that's what the pipeline does for your CRM. Again, if your CRM that you're going to be getting or you currently have and you just started with it, if it doesn't have a CRM, it's probably not a great idea to keep it because, again, this will really help you manage your company to know what's going on. So that way, again, if someone's out for whatever reason, you could just jump right in without having to ask a million questions. And if you're just starting out your business, you may not think this is going to be needed, but it's actually probably even more so helpful for the people that are just starting, that are doing absolutely everything. Because if I had a program like this back when I started, well, what would happen is, when you first start, you're, answering the phone calls, you're doing the emails, you are doing the quotes, or you're going out to do the quote, you're actually putting the quote together, sending them the quote, you're doing the installation, you're ordering the materials, you're doing the warranty repairs, you're doing all this kind of stuff. And, when you're doing it all on your own, if you're using like pen and paper, like it's just not going to work. If you're just using a scheduling program, it's probably not going to work either because you are going to lose track of these people. So anyway, hope you thought this was helpful and have a good day.